And good morning. Welcome to the weekend meeting. My name is Lance, and I am the North Dakota Carnivore. Having some technical difficulties this morning, mostly with myself. How is everybody doing today? It's just me hanging out here today. Weekend meeting. Trying to wake up. Just watched a little bit of Dr. Kiltz this morning. He had an open invite for anybody to come in and chat with him. George and Rick went in, they were chatting with him. I thought about doing it, but I was getting stuff ready for this live stream, so I was like, nah, just sit here and I'll wait. I've never actually talked with Kiltz like that, but it'd be fun to do. So today is a feasting day for me. So it's a lion diet day. I had a New York strip steak that I cooked a couple days ago this morning for my breakfast. And I cooked it a couple days ago. It's been in the fridge. That's just where it's been. I didn't heat it up. I didn't do anything. I just cut it up into thin strips. And while I was sitting here doing stuff on my computer, I sat and ate the New York strip steak for breakfast. Absolutely delicious way to start your day. Oh, but it was another late night last night. We had hockey, and we have a grandchild that's spending the night again. So it's busy. It's actually been pretty nice out today. From what I can see, our temperatures here are actually climbing. It's warmer now than it was at any time yesterday, this morning, and we're going up to 31 degrees today is what the forecast is for. It's currently like 24 degrees. We're supposed to be getting some freezing rain or freezing drizzle, ice for the next like 5 hours today. But today is the day that I am planning on going out after this live stream here and Carnivore Quest one, and going to Citizens Alley, which is a hangout spot. They turned into a ice skating rink for the wintertime. Hey, good morning, Jeff. How are you doing today? But I'm gonna take some of our grandkids and go ice skating this morning. They have free skate rentals right now. Well, it starts at noon to 5, free skate rentals. So I'll be taking grandkids out there and skating with them. Good morning, Aaron. It's nice to see you this morning. Now, I got one of my wife's Christmas presents a little bit late because when I went to actually get what I wanted to get her, of course, they were out. I'm a guy, I don't shop until the very end. So she got them the other day. They're the heated socks. My wife was a type 2 diabetic. She has neuropathy. Her feet are always numb, but they're always cold too. So I got her heated socks to help with that, because there are some days her feet are just terribly cold. But breakfast this morning, beautiful New York strip steak. It was actually the end piece, and what I found with some of these steaks like that, the end piece of the New York strip, where it's mostly the sirloin, it can be rather tough at times. And if you cook it like you normally would, to a medium rare or even rare, and then you throw it in the fridge for a few days, when you go to eat it, you cut it up cold and eat it cold, it's more tender than it was when you would have tried cooking it or eating it when it was hot. And I've done that for a couple of steaks I've had where I knew they were going to be a tougher cut just because where they were in the roast I cut out. And they turn out really good if you let them sit and chill in the fridge for a couple days after you cook them. Of course, I also do, I like to brine my steaks too. Just had some eggs with mushrooms and sausage. That's awesome. Hey, I'm going to try this now, seeing how there are people in there commenting. It just showed up on my thing up here where you can show comments on stage. I've never noticed it before. I can put comments right up there and they can stream. That's pretty cool. Off to the store, need stuff for meatballs. Oh, meatballs. I told my wife I needed to do that. Actually, yesterday, I did end up breaking my fast at 48 hours yesterday. I was to the point where I was hungry and I felt like I needed to eat. So right before we went to hockey, I did eat last night. It wasn't much. It didn't take much to fill me up and to make me full. So that to me was a win. Just like the steak I had this morning. It was a pretty good sized steak, but it was pretty rough to get it all ate. Jeff, doing well. Ate 2 sausage patties, 4 eggs, and a slice of low carb bread to sop up the oil and yolks. I don't really care for the low carb breads. I actually never really cared for bread or toast or anything like that. My wife, as a type 2 diabetic, she would try the low carb stuff like that, and it always affected her blood sugars the same way. So when we went to the carnivore diet, and when she went to the carnivore diet, we tried, even when she has sausage, but most of the time we have bacon, and we dip the bacon and scoop the yolk out with the bacon. It's, to me, it's actually so much better than using bread. I love it when you can just get all the yolk on the crispy bacon. Oh my goodness. That's, to me, that's the best thing to have in the morning. I really enjoy that, but I'm trying to eat the line diet when I refeed for this month. So I got to wait until February, unless I go and, actually think what a lion would eat, which would be anything that he could get his hands on that was made of meat, whether it was an egg from a nest on the ground, a bird that he caught, a pig, a wild boar. They're going to eat anything they can get their hands on. They're not going to be just sticking to, the 4-chambered ruminant animals. That's not what's going to happen. But what they are going to eat is they are going to eat the fatty portions of that. The rest of it they'll leave for the scavenging animals because, some of them do better. Like dogs, canines. Canines do better on a low-fat meat. Humans do better on a high-fat meat. See how that works out? Pretty good. So you can keep all the high-fat foods for yourselves, and you can feed your critters the lower fats. I like that. But today is just another, it's a rough morning. Listening to Dr. Kiltz this morning, he had Zane Griggs on his channel on Friday. I don't know a whole lot about Zane other than I've seen him on other things and I really don't care for the guy. He's a big carb eater, a big carb addict. Everything that he does is what made me sick, is what made my insulin go up. We gave me high blood pressure, put me in the extreme obesity categories. That's a lot of where I ended up at because of stuff like that. Jeff, you're mostly ketovore and you don't do challenges. Well, and that's fine. Challenges are just a way. I like to do challenges because it challenges me mentally. It helps to keep me from getting bored doing the same thing over and over. That's why one of my favorite channels to watch on YouTube is Beard Meets Food. because he does food challenges. He tries to eat a lot, and I watch a lot of that guy. But for me, doing a challenge for the carnivore diet, it's mostly just to challenge myself mentally, but to see if I have a better benefit doing something different than what I normally have been doing. Oh, Jeff's gonna have bacon cheeseburger soup for dinner. Man, that stuff. Is that the Courtney Luna recipe that you're gonna be having, Jeff? The Courtney Luna bacon cheeseburger soup is absolutely delicious. I know my wife and I have had that a couple of times, and that is really good. Except for the fact that it's got so much dairy in it. It really kind of hurts my body when I eat that much dairy. But I do do a lot better on raw dairy. It's just a place that I was getting my raw dairy from this summer. They've got a fridge set up at another local business where they hadn't been refilling it, stocking it, and the last couple of weeks it's been empty. I don't know if they're having issues with their dairy or if they're not producing like they were before, or if it's just they have that many more customers now that they're not able to put it out to the public in their on the fridges that they have. So I'm gonna have to get a hold of them and find out, because I do like the heavy cream, and I do like the raw milk. It's so much better than the pasteurized milk. Pasteurized milk I have big issues with. Let's see. Oh, just a recipe from the internet? Okay. Courtney Luna's channel, she does have that recipe on her channel. I do believe it's bacon cheeseburger soup, but man, it's really delicious. And then it might be hers too. A lot of people have done her recipes that she's got in her book and put it out there. And I believe some of the recipes she has in her book came from people, and she just incorporated them into her book also. But she's got some really good recipes. Same with Jenny Middich. She's got some really good recipes in her book. Kerry Kelly, he's on X. He's got some really good recipes in his carnivore cookbook. There's a few carnivore cookbooks out there that I have that are actually really good. They got some good recipes that I use every once in a while, and just to break stuff up. But just the amount of the cream in there, and what else is it? Cream cheese, cheese, and cream in it. It's just way too much for my body. That's just too much dairy, and none of it is for us right now raw. So it's just too much for me. But coffee this morning is hitting the spot. Yesterday, when I broke my fast it was like 59 and a half hours, because if I'd have waited until 60 hours, I would have been late to go into our hockey game. So I broke my fast early by half an hour. Big deal. I ate some ground beef and some leftover meatloaf that my wife had made. The meatloaf was actually 100% carnivore, except for a few of the seasonings in it, seasonings. But it didn't have any gluten in it, didn't have any bread in it. So it actually worked out really good. But it just the difference in the way I feel after I ate that. There's a little bit of meatloaf, and it was only 6 ounces of ground beef after I had that couple slices of meatloaf, and I was actually really full. When I warmed up the meatloaf, I put tallow on top of each of the slices I had, just so it would melt and soak into it, so it wasn't dried out or anything like that, and it's really nice. And when I had the ground beef, I kept the fat with it so that I had that fat. And even this morning when I got up, I really wasn't hungry, but I know the way my body is. As soon as I started doing this, then my body would be telling me that I'm getting hungry, and then my concentration and everything would have been way off. So I just, muddled around this morning, watched Dr. Kiltz, got that steak out and sliced it up. And I feel so much better eating that high fat New York strip. Now, when I say a high fat New York strip, my New York strips don't look like they do when you get them from the grocery store. When I get my New York strips, I buy the strip loin roast, and it's the big roast. It's 14, 15, 17-pound roast. And that includes all the fat that comes with it, the fat cap that's around there and stuff. And when I cut my roast, I cut the roast. I don't trim the fat off. So when I say I'm eating a higher fat New York strip steak, it's nothing special. It's the same strip steak that you'll get from a butcher shop or a grocery store, but I leave the fat cap on it. Do I eat it all? No, there are some parts of that fat cap that are really hard and gristly. I can't really eat it. But I eat probably 3/4 of the extra fat on there, so I get a good amount more of fat for every New York strip I eat. The same thing for my ribeyes. The ribeye steaks I eat the same way. I keep the fat caps on there. I keep all the fat with it. I do strip some of it off when I'm eating it. Some of the stuff that you can't really eat that's more gristly and hard, I do have dogs that like that. And they'll beg for it. I have one dog that'll prance like a little deer, just sitting there going pitter patter and begging for it. My big dog will just lay there and have a puddle of drool underneath his mouth. He's so goofy. But I also cooked up 5 pounds of ground beef, and here when I actually should have started it before I did this here. Good timing. Way to think of it now, right? I also ground up 5 pounds of ground beef, and I like the carnivore bars, but they're very expensive. So I don't eat them very often. I have them one in my bag that my laptop is in. I take to work and back home, and I have one in the freezer at my work. Then I have the rest of them are sitting in my fridge that I have for my meats that I have. If they weren't so expensive, I would eat a lot more of them. With that in mind, I can take ground beef and cook it myself. I can dehydrate it myself. I can grind it myself. I can add tallow to it, put it into a mold and throw it in the freezer and chill it, get it solid, vacuum seal it, and then I have my own carnivore bars. They're not called carnivore bars, but it's just what the heck do you call them? Pemmican. A pemmican bar. Now, will it be 25 years shelf stable? Nope, it won't. But it'll be stable as long as I have it in the refrigerator, or if I throw it in the freezer, it'll keep a lot longer. But I can make, a 5-pound block of this here. You won't get 5 pounds out of it. By the time you're done, you might get 2 pounds. You might get 1.5 pounds of actual meat left over, because that's how much is moisture and excess fat that's in there. But you can get quite a bit of extra stuff. And then if you look at the carnivore bars, they're 2-ounce bars. If I have a pound of pemmican and I make 2-ounce bars for each of the bars, out of a pound, 16 ounces, I'm going to get 8 bars, which is, for the price I'm going to pay for 8 bars, which I paid it's $25 for the 5 pounds of ground beef. And if I get 8 bars out of it, it's still going to be way less expensive than what the carnivore bar is. And it's basically the same thing. It's pemmican, and you can store that. You can use that anytime you want. They probably don't last as well out in the environment as what the carnivore bar does, but I don't plan on keeping them in my pocket while I'm hiking in 90-degree heat either. It's just not what I want to do. So, Jeff, do you like the comments on the side here? No, they're kind of distracting for me. Yeah, ground beef, bacon, cream cheese, beef broth. Yeah, that sounds like Courtney Luna's recipe for her bacon cheeseburger soup. But and the other thing I got yesterday from my wife, you make ground beef jerky in a dehydrator, 3 pounds at a time. Yeah. Now, that's one of the nice things that one of the local stores I have here, they do it was a 96.4 ground beef. So I can get the extra lean ground beef just to make that beef jerky. I've got one of those. I have the Nesco round dehydrator that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings in it. 4 rings in it. And I think it's just 2 pounds that I do at a time on that. And I like doing the rope jerky just to keep it simple. And I think for me, it turns out better using the rope. I know my wife, she kind of likes the wide jerky style ones more, but I usually like the rope. You can look at the side in the main chat or on the screen. Yeah, I usually watch the main chat over here on the side too. I think this is distracting. There are sometimes I like watching that. One of the things that I notice, like with old guy carnivore with Mitch, he keeps it up here on the that way. He keeps it up here, but you can stay in the live stream and you can scroll through the live stream and comment to people and stuff, and on the side, and also keep track of what's being said at the same time. I guess for this one here, it's really not that many people. It's just me and you right now talking. If anybody else wants to join in, all you gotta do is throw a comment in there, even on X, Rumble. You can comment and they'll show up on the screen so that everybody can see them. So, because there's people that are on the other stream that I have YouTube, X, Rumble, and then I have the short stream also. And if you're in the chat on each of them, the only thing that you're going to see is the stream or the chat in your area that you're in right now. Yeah. That down there says that there's 5 watching. My counter up here's got 14. I've got 6 on X and 8 on YouTube, now 7, so 13. It doesn't show me who's watching on Rumble, which I don't know why. Like yesterday, Uncle Willie was in here. On YouTube, he goes on YouTube as Crispy Bacon, and he's in the Carnivore Quest group too. So he chats in there and stuff, but he comes in here as Uncle Willie, and it doesn't ever show that I have anybody watching on Rumble. But when I look at the analytics on Rumble, I'll have 8 to 12 people on Rumble watch the live stream. It's just, it doesn't translate over. setting this up just to stream on Rumble is a pain in the ass, because you have to create the show on Rumble prior to doing the setup for this here. Rumble only lets you do your lives or schedule your lives for like 36 hours out, where like YouTube, I can schedule this here a week out. Like when I'm done with these today, I can schedule next weekends and have those set up and ready to go. But on Rumble, I can't do that. It's a different platform. People like me, I don't get nearly the views on Rumble. I get way more views on YouTube and X than I do on Rumble. But I do like Rumble because it's a free speech platform. And when people were being kicked off of YouTube and off of X, Rumble let people talk. So I've stuck with Rumble. I like Rumble. I do watch stuff on Rumble every now and then. I do watch more of YouTube. Now, you say you're mostly keto, Jeff. What do you eat other than the meats? What kind of plants are you eating? Have you looked at any of the causes or issues that some of those plants are causing with people? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm asking for a reason. One is a lot of the plants that people are eating, and they don't realize what toxins that they have and what health issues are correlated with them. Because some of the plants that people eat are just really bad. Like if you have issues with oxalates, one of the worst things, a person that has issues with oxalates, you have kidney stones or any of those stones like that, they're caused by oxalates. And spinach is one of the highest oxalate foods out there. But there are other phytochemicals and poisons in plants that people are eating, and they don't think about what those things are doing to them. And each one causes different things, So I was just wondering if you've researched which ones you are eating, and if it's helping you to overcome health issues by what you're selecting to eat. It's just my curiosity. I'm not trying to be a jerk or refilling my coffee, because that was just about empty and it's starting to cool off. Apple, carrots, broccoli. Okay. Yeah, those, the Honeycrisp apples were the apple that I used to love to eat. And until they got overpriced, I loved eating Honeycrisp apples. Yeah. Carrots, I've always enjoyed the carrots. Whole foods are the best way to go. And broccoli, I've never really cared for broccoli. Cauliflower, I would eat them if they were the only thing out there, but I had to have a lot of ranch or whatever that other dip was that we used to use with it, or had to be soaked in Italian dressing to the point that I couldn't actually taste them. But yeah, those are actually three of the things that I used to eat. But the apples were the ones that they were the hardest ones for me to not eat when they were around. Place that my wife and I lived in a few years ago. Actually, before we moved in, it's been 10 years since we lived at that place. We had 2 apple trees in the backyard, and when the first year that we lived there, the apples were pretty small. They weren't all that big. The yard, when we moved in, the yard hadn't been maintained or anything for a while. The guy that owned the house gave up, basically gave the house up because his he got it when his girlfriend was pregnant. She turned to drugs after the baby, and a whole big mess ensued after that. Uh, he just he stopped living there. He moved back in with his mom. He actually lived in her basement for a long time, but the house just sat empty. Um, my wife, we knew him from our kids because he was friends with our kids, our daughters, and my wife talked to him one day and asked him what he was doing with the house. And he's like, he was just gonna, let it go back to the bank eventually. She said, "Well, no, you rent it to us," and we did. We lived there for about 4 years. Wish we'd have stayed. It'd have been nice. But he had apple trees in that backyard, and the first year we were there, they were just small apples. The second year that we were there, so we were there in the springtime this time. I went to, I can't remember if it was Home Depot or if it was Menards or if it was one of our growers here that does plants and stuff that I talked to. So I went to a bunch of different places to talk to people about it. But I got some spikes for the ground. And because it was 2 trees, they recommended so many. I used about half of what they recommended. And of the half that I put in, they were spread out pretty good. And that summer, those apples were so huge. They were just massive. And the next 3 summers that we were there, they were like that. They were just huge. You make a cheese sauce, butter, heavy whipped cream, Kobe Jack cheese, and salt. Oh, that sounds good. Cook the vegetables. Yeah. Doing the whole foods. Me personally, I would avoid any wheat products, any grains, because you don't know their history, you don't know what they're doing. But buying whole foods, whole vegetables, whole fruits, and if you're cooking them in tallow, ghee, butter, or lard, bacon fat, and avoid any of the seed oils, including avocado or olive oil, because they are there's so much food fraud that goes on with those oils. And it's just amazing. But if you're eating just single ingredient foods, your body's going to do so much better. I still have a lot of healing to do, and I can tell how much healing I have to do because of hormone signals. Ghrelin and leptin are 2 of the easiest ones that you can identify quickly and see how you're doing. Ghrelin is a hunger signal. That tells you that you're hungry. If it doesn't stop, then you're broken. And leptin turns off the ghrelin. When you eat enough food and your body says, "Hey, that's enough, I don't need any more," the leptin is supposed to come in and take over so the ghrelin goes away. But if the ghrelin is still high and you're not getting your leptin signal, you're not going to be told that you're full. And I don't have that signal. My leptin hormones don't tell me that I've had enough, or my ghrelin is just so strong that I don't ever get a signal telling me to stop eating. I track everything I eat. Not as much or as strict as I did when I first started carnivore, but I still track it. I know when I'm eating a New York strip steak, I know my fat and my calories from fat, my calories from protein. I tracked that stuff. When I first started doing a carnivore, I tracked the ounces. How many ounces of meat was I eating, so I could actually put in the proper amount of what I was eating. That way I could ensure that my macros for my calories from fat and my calories from protein were where I wanted it to be, or where I felt my body was doing the best. I started out aiming for 70% of my calories coming from fat. And that's a New York strip steak. I think it's 24% of calories from fat, or 26. It's one of those two. So it's right there at that 75. And that's where I did my best at. So when I ate like the 80-20 ground beef, if I had to add butter or extra tallow to it to adjust my levels, then I did. If I bought the 88-12 from Costco, I always had to add more butter to it just to get my fat back up where it was. If I had like a pork loin, I would have to adjust my fat, add bacon grease to it, or add tallow to it to increase the fat amount from what I was eating. I checked all of that stuff. I tracked everything just to make sure that I was getting what I needed. Do you test for them? Test for, I'm lost right now. Test for what, Jeff? What were they talking about? And I'm not sure what you're asking about, Jeff. Can I test for what? Oh, for the ghrelin and the leptin? I'm sure you can, but I don't know if you could, if it'd be something that your body would, or your doctors would test, or a lab would test for on a regular basis. I think that'd be more of a research. I haven't seen any panels with those tests in it. I just know that the ghrelin is the hunger signal, it's a hormone, and the leptin is your satiety signal, and that's also a hormone. There are other ones out there too, but I don't know if you could take a blood draw and have that tested to see if it would correlate very well with how you're feeling at the time. It'd be interesting to see if I could find a research place that was clear by that would be able to do that and would be willing to do that. Probably be expensive to just test for it. Then Own Your Own Labs, they have places that will do this kind of stuff, but they're not anywhere near here. Let's see, Own Your Labs. And they do have a leptin test on Own Your Labs. Measures leptin levels to evaluate metabolic health and appetite regulation. And it's $60. Let's see. I do not see a ghrelin. Yeah, they don't do a ghrelin test. It's not that I see yet. See your active protein. Yeah. No, they just do the leptin. A hormone spit test from a compounding pharmacy. Never thought of that. But as far as I know, we don't have any pharmacy around here where I'm at in North Dakota like that. It's like the Own Your Own Labs. People have recommended going to that several times to do your labs. For me, the closest place that Own Your Own Labs has to where I live is 400 miles. So it's not something that's convenient or easy for us to do. If I live in the Twin Cities again, yeah, there's several places in the Twin City metro area that are affiliated with either Own Your Own Labs or Quest Diagnostics where you can do that kind of stuff. There is a lab here in Minot now that is offering some testing where you can request it yourself and go and test. But the tests that they're offering aren't things that I'm looking for anyway. None of the markers that I want to look for, like my fasting insulin, they don't do it. They don't do your lipid panels with differential so that you can see if it's the larger or the smaller LDL particles that are in your blood or not, because that makes a difference on your cholesterol levels, is whether it's the large particles that you have or the small ones. And then if it's the small ones, how many of the small ones are damaged? Because even if it's a small leptin or a small LDL, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it hasn't been gone back to the liver yet. It's the damaged small LDL that make the LDL bad. And those are the ones that have been damaged by glucose, by glycation. So, and the leptin testing may be enough. You're right. It might be. And once I get down to the weight that I want to be into before I go see a doctor again, that might be one of the tests I have her check for. That's the other thing too, is if you're going to a doctor to have tests done for your health, it helps if you go out and you educate yourself on the test. So if you want to see how your body's doing, just found that I can actually do a leptin test, but I can't do a ghrelin test. But there's so many different ones in here that you can test on. Hey, good morning, Kel. How are you doing today? There's so many different tests that you can do. Some of them they don't mean anything unless you have the right version of the test. Like checking your cholesterol. If you're just getting either LDL or your HDL done and your triglycerides, if you don't get the differential with it so that you know which ones are which, for the high or the low, the large or small, it really doesn't do you any good because you're just getting a number then. If your LDL is high, but your large buoyant LDL is abundant and your small, dense, damaged ones are basically non-existent or really low level, there's nothing wrong with having high LDL like that. But if you don't get that differential, you'll never know. It's just a number then. And it doesn't mean anything. You have to advocate for yourself to your doctor, because your doctor nowadays is not trained in how to heal people. Your doctor is trained what prescription drug to give to somebody to make them feel better, to mask the symptoms that they're having. It's not to eliminate whatever is going wrong. It's just to hide it. And that's what they're trained to do now. And that's just not right. So, at least not in my mind, it's not right. It's not a thing that you want people to do. I myself, I did that with my wife. When she was first starting, we went through a 3-year ordeal trying to get my wife's teeth pulled so she could get dentures. The last child, after my son was born, my wife's teeth actually just deteriorated. My wife doesn't do drugs. She doesn't drink alcohol. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't have any vices. Her only vice is me. I'm the only bad influence she has in her life. But her teeth got really bad. And a lot of that was because of what was going on within her body with her type 2 diabetes, um, and other health issues that she was dealing with, which we know now all come back to the way we were eating, because we were eating seed oil laden stuff. We were using a lot of, you know, vegetable oils for cooking and stuff like that. We went away from real butter to the fake butters and stuff like that. And it's just by doing that, we ruined her health. We ruined my health. And I'm sorry, I'm distracted. There's noise coming from downstairs, and then it does distract me. But by doing that, her teeth got ruined, and they started to rot, and she could actually just wiggle it and pull it right out. We went through a 3-year ordeal trying to get her blood sugars under control so that she could have her teeth pulled by her dentist. Her dentist wouldn't pull her teeth unless her A1C was under control. And the last time, or the first time we saw her dentist, her A1C was really high. And I can't remember, it was like 9 or something like that. And he was like, oh, no, you can't touch that. And it never got any better. She tried and tried different things to get her blood sugars under control. Yeah, my wife is doing a lot better, Cal. She has an amazing story, and I wish she would share. I've tried getting her to come on here and do this with me, just to share her story. I suggested that she go on to people like Juliet Edens or what the hell is her name? Like Carnivorous Granny Grandma. What's her name? But yeah, I've suggested that she go on to those channels to share her story because she has an inspirational story. So in October 2024, she had her labs done. Her A1C was 15. Her fasting blood glucose was, yes, Robin Heron. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jeff. And I was just on her channel a couple of weeks ago. All the store's busy, Aaron. Yep. But my wife's fasting blood sugars in October 2024 were 500. She got a CGM. She put that on. It took the first week she couldn't get a reading on it because her blood sugars were above 400. And the Freestyle Libre 3 doesn't read anything over 400. 399 I'll read. Once it hits 400, it just says high. And it's off the charts. That's where she was. Once she was able to see her blood sugar numbers, she was able to find out what foods made the difference for her. And I didn't pressure her to do the carnivore diet at all. But she saw what was happening with me eating just meats. She saw, now, I would eat and she would eat. She would eat her food, I'd eat my meat. And she'd look at her monitor and she's like, God damn it. She'd be pissed off because her blood sugars were going up. And I said, well, you're eating carbs. It's going to go up. She's like, well, what are yours? And I'd prick my finger and I'd test my blood, and my blood would be like 90. She's like, God, you're such a jerk. I'm like, why am I a jerk? Because my body's doing what it's supposed to do now. But over time, she saw that the way I was eating was actually working for me. I was losing weight. I came off of my blood pressure medications. I was getting healthy. After Thanksgiving of 2024, where she had, by that time, she was mostly carnivore up to Thanksgiving during the month of November, because October, when she could see what her blood sugars were doing, she started cutting carbs out to get her sugars down. And it worked for her. Then Thanksgiving, she had some stuffing. She had some mashed potatoes. She had a piece of apple pie, and her blood sugars, went straight up. It's a huge spike. But the good thing is they came back down shortly after. Now, at that time, she was taking a daily injection of a long-acting insulin, and she was taking a GLP-1. She had just started the GLP-1, and it wasn't on there. She didn't have that very long when at Thanksgiving time, so it did affect her appetite, and that's what it's supposed to do. It helped her through the month of December to not eat as many carbs, to not have those carb cravings. She started eating more and more carnivore. We found that the more fat that she ate, the less insulin that she had to use. If she used too much insulin, her blood sugars went back up because her body would make glucose for the insulin that she was taking. And that's where at the end of December, she stopped taking her insulin because she was trying to correct her blood sugars because her glucose would show it was like 200. She would take her insulin and then her glucose would go up again. And she was like, she couldn't understand why. I'm like, well, just stop taking it for a day and let's see what it does. Her insulin or her blood sugars came down. I told her, don't take it today either. And the next day, it continued to come down and down and down. And then the 1st of January, was it like the 2nd or 3rd of January, she had an appointment to have her labs done and then to see her doctor real quick. Actually, I don't think she ever saw her doctor. I think she just had the labs done. And one of the things that we advocated for, and this is where it's going back to the own your own labs, is I wanted her to have her fasting insulin done because that's never been tested, along with her A1C and stuff like that. What is the other one? There's another marker out there for insulin. I can't remember what it is. C-peptide. And I wanted her C-peptide done, along with the other one. So fasting insulin, C-peptide, her A1C, and her fasting glucose. And her doctor did not want to do the fasting insulin and the fasting C-peptide. Why do you need those? Those don't tell you anything. Yes, they do. They tell you everything that you really need to know. And my wife called me and said she doesn't want to do those. What do I tell her? I'm like, you tell her that your dentist wants them. We're doing this to get your insulin under control, your A1C under control, and your sugars under control so that you can have your dental surgery. Your dentist wants these markers. She told her doctor that. And I said, oh, okay. And my wife had an appointment with an endocrinologist that was supposed to be at the end of January. And she said, her doctor was like, yeah, probably help your endo doctor also. So she reluctantly did what we asked. Now, my wife hadn't taken an insulin injection or used the GLP-1. She hadn't used the GLP-1 for 3 weeks. She hadn't had the insulin for like 2 weeks. Her C-peptide was on the low range of normal. Her fasting insulin was a little high, but nothing out of control. And by a little high, when I'm saying high, I'm talking about Dr. Berry high, not their standard high. So above 10, or it was close to a 10 or something like that. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But her fasting insulin was fairly normal. It was down. It wasn't at the high range of what they consider to be normal, which is 25. Just crazy. Do you want to know if Own Your Own Labs testing does for Medicaid? I don't think so. I think this is just Own Your Own Labs is just a pay as you go. So you pay for everything that they're doing. I actually got their site up here. Fill out your information. Well, if you're in Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, or Rhode Island, you can't use your own labs because of state laws. Yeah. It doesn't say about that, but I do believe that your all the testing costs, including orders and blood draw, fee is covered by the amount at checkout. Yeah, it doesn't show in here if it takes insurance or not. All right, we'll see you over at Larry's. I still want to finish what I was talking about here, but advocating for yourself and knowing what tests to ask for is important, because your doctor is going to test you for stuff, and the basic thing that they're going to do is test you so that they can prescribe you a medication, not to fix you. So testing your A1C and your fasting glucose is not to help you with your diabetes. It's to give you medication for it. If you want to help somebody with their diabetes or their high blood pressure or so many different autoimmune diseases, what are you going to test for? Well, you want to test for your C-peptide and you want to test for your fasting insulin. Your fasting insulin is responsible for so many of these diseases right now. My high blood pressure was because of my insulin levels. My wife's diabetes. If you're type 2 diabetic, your blood sugars have been high for decades or a decade or more because of your diabetes or because of your insulin. Your insulin is high for decades prior to your detection of having type 2 diabetes and high blood sugars. Your pancreas pumps out and pumps out and pumps out your insulin until it has no place to store it anymore in your body. And then it gets stored in your blood, and that's where your blood sugars go up. But people can have the high insulin levels for 10 to 20 years before that happens. And nobody's going to know it because they don't test your insulin. If they tested your insulin and your diet, because that's how you correct your insulin, you correct it with your diet by eliminating carbohydrates. If you eliminate carbohydrates, your insulin goes back down to normal. Ta-da! Really simple, right? And where am I at now? Yeah. Okay. So making sure that your insulin is right. Now, the C-peptide is a marker of insulin. So if you are a type 2 diabetic and you want to know if your pancreas is still working, you can check your C-peptide. Your C-peptide is made as a byproduct of the production of insulin. So if you're making your own insulin, you're making C-peptide. If you're taking a shot of insulin, whether it's a long-acting or a quick-acting insulin, it doesn't have a C-peptide marker. That C-peptide marker is made by your liver, which is not something that they add into the shots. So you can tell if your body is making your own insulin. My wife was making her insulin. So October of 2024, my wife's A1C was 15. Her fasting glucose was 500. January of 2025, her fasting insulin was, I believe, it was like 160 or something like that, which is still a little bit high. Her A1C was down to 8.7. And with that, where we could show her dentist that we've been working on this and this is what's happened and we've got this figured out, we were able to go to her dentist, show him her labs, and he said, okay, I'll do it now, because the way your teeth are and the infections that you have in your mouth, your insulin or your sugar levels aren't going to come down, because all that infection is creating glucose inside of your body, which is something that we had an idea of and we were aware of, but it made more sense when we were seeing this now. Anytime she had an infection in her mouth, her blood sugars would go up, and we saw that on her CGM. So she finally got the okay from her dentist. She continued taking, using her, she didn't use insulin. She was taking the berberine, which she still takes, and watching what she eats. Berberine is similar to metformin, but it's not made in a lab. It's just a plant. So some plants aren't trying to kill you. Some plants are trying to help you. Berberine is one that tries to help. It's like a seasoning, but it helps to lower blood sugars. It helps the body properly do stuff with your glucose. And I'm not going to get into what all berberine does, but it's like it's a natural metformin style plant. But she does use that. She takes that. She was taking it at a larger dose. Now she's just barely taking anything, and it's helping. It still helps her. She has damaged her pancreas tremendously by having such high sugar levels for so long, because she overproduced her insulin. Her body, it's taking time to heal. She's been doing this now for 14 months. So, it does. It takes time for the body to heal and to get back to where it was. Sometimes the damage is done for so long that you can't heal any more than what it already is. Some people can greatly reduce their dependency on insulin by switching to a low carb or zero carb diet, but they might not ever get off of their insulin because of the damage that they have already caused. And that's the importance of checking that C-peptide marker. That C-peptide tells you whether or not your body is making insulin, and if it's making it in a proper amount. Some people aren't. Some people won't be able to because they've damaged it so much. They're not a type 1 diabetic yet, but they're damn near a type 1. And seeing some of that I've learned just from being in community chats like this here, in live streams where people have talked with Dr. Nelson from Kiltz Health. And Dr. Nelson is a type 2 diabetic. He still takes the occasional insulin. Why? Because he's damaged his pancreas so much, he doesn't produce enough insulin on his own. So he does have to take some now and then. He does this diet. He still has issues with it. So sometimes he has to take it. And it's just what some people have to do. Now, with that, my wife is much better. She has a full mouth of dentures now. She can eat what she wants. She's a lot happier. I just wish she would go a little more stricter for the carnivore diet, but she still likes some of her vegetables. She really enjoys the rotel, which is the tomato, peppers, and onions. And if that's what she wants, that's she can have that. It's not going to be a bad thing for her. When she does have it, it does affect her blood sugars to a point, but not to the point where it's detrimental to her. They go up, they come back down, and they come back down fairly quickly. She had food yesterday that it spiked up and it came back down. When we go to the hockey game, she'll get their all beef dogs that they have, no bun, or the bratwurst with no bun. Depending upon what variety of the bratwurst they get, some of them spike her blood sugars really high, and some of them don't. If it's the beer brat, it doesn't spike it at all. If it's the brat that they had yesterday, and I don't know which variety it was, I think it was just their smoked brat that they had out yesterday, that one spikes her blood sugars. So she went to a birthday party for a baby yesterday, 1 year birthday. And it's for families, extended families, kid. She went to that birthday. She had, I don't remember what she said she had, but it spiked her blood sugars up a little bit. And it wasn't bad. It went up. It started coming back down. We went to the hockey game. She had the brats and it spiked it up higher. And then by the time we got home, it was back down to normal again. So her body did what it's supposed to do. It's doing that now where before it didn't. And a lot of times when she's doing this, she sees it and it just, it frustrates her because she likes the flavor. She likes the seasonings. She likes the taste of stuff. She likes the variety. I'm a simple person. I would eat the same things every day and it really doesn't bother me. I like that kind of stuff. But you want to see what I eat? Here. This is what I eat. This is a brisket. This is our Christmas meal. I made this here for Christmas. I smoked this on a pellet grill for about 17 hours. That was our Christmas evening meal. A beautiful brisket. Man, that was good. This is, a meal that I eat on the weekends. I was talking with Jeff earlier. Bacon and eggs. I take my crispy bacon and I dip it into the yolks. And I eat the bacon and the yolk together. Now, the pluck seasoning in the background, this is an organ meat seasoning. This is actually really good. And this is the spicy medium seasoning. This is actually really good. I really enjoy that. But I have bacon and eggs like this here on weekends. It's a great meal. This is a pork steak. This is from the pork shoulder. You can see the bone right there. If you get pulled pork, this is generally the meat that you have in a pulled pork, but they slice through it, make it into steaks. You get pork steaks. This is $3 a pound. Beautiful. And it's delicious. It takes a little bit longer to cook. This is like 7 to 8 minutes per side until it gets to 190 to 200 degrees internal. That's what makes it tender, is the heat. You have to cook the pork shoulder a little bit longer. And then stuff like this. That's 1.5 pounds of salmon and that was a dozen or, a little bit more of shrimp. But salmon and shrimp, this meal right here was only about 500 calories, and that's 2 pounds of meat sitting in there. One of my favorites, New York strip and shrimp, extra butter added to it. Gotta love that. That's delicious. Now, I showed the pork steak earlier. This is what it looks like if you smoke it and pull it. This right here and this are the same meat. That's the same one. Absolutely delicious. I do eat chicken. I eat chicken wings. My chicken wings that I eat, that's a homemade barbecue sauce or homemade buffalo sauce that's just Frank's Red Hot and melted butter until it gets to the color that I wanted and the flavor. I cook the wings just about completely. And then the last 10 minutes, I baste it with the buffalo sauce, put it back in there, let that crisp up a little bit more. Man, is that good. The dip on the left there, that is a jalapeno ranch made with sour cream. And the jalapeno ranch seasoning comes from Carnivore Companion seasonings. Reed, Carnivore's chef, it's his line of seasonings. They're absolutely delicious. I do have a link in the description for this. The Carnivore chef, he has some wonderful seasonings. I use all 5 of the seasonings that he has. Every one of them is delicious. I personally don't like ranch dressing. I do like this jalapeno ranch because it does have a bite to it, and it's clean. He doesn't use sugars in his seasonings. They are very good. One of the biggest meals that I ate in all of 2025 is this right here. This is a power bowl: ground beef, eggs, and bacon. There's extra butter put into here. I don't drain the fat out. I keep all the fat in there. It's the best thing that you can eat right now. And this is one of the other things. Ground beef patties. These are the 80/20 ground beef patties from Walmart, the Great Value brand. You take those from frozen, throw them on a cookie sheet, throw them in the oven at 400 degrees. Turn the oven on when you put those in at 400. Bake them for 25 minutes like that. The oven heats up. It cooks, does everything within 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and they're done. Throw some shrimp on the side. This is absolutely delicious. I got 6 patties here, I think it is. 6 patties. That's 1.5 pounds of ground beef with the shrimp. You can also take the excess fat drippings that come off of these patties, and you can pour it right on top of this here. You see in the very top of the screen, that red, that's my bacon fat container. That's where all the bacon fat comes from. Now, you want to see what this type of a diet has done for me? Eating stuff like brisket, eggs, pork shoulder, salmon, steaks, chicken, power bowls. Want to see what that's done for me? This is what I looked like before I started doing this diet. That's how big I was. Notice the different chins that I have. I was not a healthy person. There's nothing healthy about me in these pictures. The one I'm on a scooter on here, I'm at the state fair. I can't walk at this point. Walking for 20 minutes, my feet would hurt so bad I could not handle it. And that's what I look like. This is what I look like today. I've lost 122 pounds on the carnivore diet. From my heaviest, which it's probably the picture with me in the white with the Pooh Bear in my pocket. I was probably about 340, 350 pounds in that picture. I was huge, and there was absolutely no reason for me to be that big other than that was the diet that I was on. That's what I did. That's what I did to myself. I got one more picture I want to share. And since I've done this picture here, I've also lost more weight in my face and in my body. Where is it at? Don't tell me it's not on here. Oh, there it is. I went right by it. Now, this picture here, this picture of me was in March of last year. So this was 10 months ago. And I've lost a lot of weight since then. The picture on the left on that there, that was me when I was 350, 340. I was huge. But that's what I look like. That was a big difference in how I feel. My skin looks much better, number one, but the roundness in the face is gone. The roundness in the face, even from the picture on the right to what I look like now, is a big difference. Is it not? That's what this diet has done for me. Matt, if it's done that for me and I'm just an average guy, what will it do for you? It's not something that's hard to do. It's actually one of the simplest diets I've ever done in my life. I haven't had to exercise. I used to do Insanity 6 days a week. I did Insanity. I did Insanity the Asylum. I did Focus T25. I did Insanity Max 30. I've done all of Shaun T's Insanity workouts. And I used to do those 6 days a week. And what did I get for it? I ended up having heart surgery because I was still eating the wrong diet. I haven't had to exercise. I have exercised on this diet. I have not exercised consistently on this diet. The longest I've ever gone with consistent exercise on this diet is 2 weeks, where I did 10 workouts in a 2-week period. In 14 days, I did 10 workouts. And those workouts were just walking on a treadmill. That's all I did for between 20 minutes and 1 hour. But I'm not consistent with it. I do it once in a while. I don't do it consistently because I don't have to. And quite frankly, I don't like to exercise. I tried doing the Insanity. I did the Insanity for 4 years before I ended up having surgery. And I had heart surgery because I had issues. But my heart's fixed. My issues aren't there anymore. So it's an issue that I have since found out that many people have actually healed on a carnivore diet. I wish I'd have known that back then, because I would have gladly changed to eating this way, because this is a much easier thing to do than Insanity. You don't have to track your calories. You don't have to track your macros. It helps. If you're a person like me, I have to track my calories to begin with, because I have to know what I'm doing. I don't have these signals for my ghrelin and my leptin to properly tell me that I'm full or that I'm hungry. My ghrelin signal, which is a hormone, is very consistent. I can ignore that signal. I'm stubborn. But my leptin signal that tells me that I'm full and to stop eating, I don't hear it. That one I don't see, I don't feel. It doesn't come. I can way overeat, and I can way overeat quickly. But I don't. I try not to anyway. So what do? I track my calories from fat and my calories from protein. When I first started doing it, I tried to keep my total calories around 2,500 calories, with 75% of my calories coming from fat, 25 coming from protein. And that worked for me. That worked really well. I came off of 5 blood pressure medications in 6 weeks. The last 2 I came off with my doctor's help, because they were max doses, and they weren't, and it was a combo drug. So I couldn't just stop taking that altogether safely. I went to my doctor. I told her what I was doing. She doesn't like the carnivore diet, but I don't care. This is my life, and this is what I'm doing. I told her I wanted to get off of my blood pressure medications. I told her what I've done so far and what I've come off of and how I came off of it. She was happy about that. And I said that these last 2, which is a combo, I want to come off of them. I told her I wanted to drop the one medication altogether and get off of it. And she wanted me to just cut down on the 2. No, I wanted to get off of that one completely. And I stood my ground. She agreed to do it. When my blood pressure started dropping on that one, I cut that in half. When it dropped on that again, I stopped taking it. My blood pressure came up for a day or two. I took that blood pressure medication, a half of it, for 2 more days, and then stopped, and then went right back off of it, and I haven't had to take it since. Hey, Jester. Good morning. Hope everybody's having a great day and continues to have one. And I assume the stream is almost over because it always seems to happen when I'm beginning my breakfast fixings. Yeah, well, I've been on right now for an hour and 20 minutes. I've just been kind of ranting here, Jester. Just about the carnivore diet and advocating for yourself to your doctors if you're getting tested and stuff like that. Going over my wife's story and her reversal of her type 2 diabetes. She doesn't take her diabetes medicines anymore. She hasn't taken a prescription medication for over a year. Her glucose is probably 95 to 99% under control. She hasn't had her A1C tested. If she does have it tested, just from the stuff that I've seen and from the way everything is, it looks like her A1C would be in a pre-diabetic state, not a diabetic state or type 2 diabetic state, which is absolutely amazing for somebody who a year and a half ago had an A1C of 15 and fasting glucose of 500. Being at those levels and not taking any medications in 14 months is fabulous. Doctors' minds just seem to be broken to the possibilities of healing diet. Yep, that's true. It's just so rare it happens that the anomaly breaks their mind. It's not rare that it happens. It's rare that people don't listen to their doctors, go on to a diet that heals them, which is what we used to eat, and come off of their medications. It's what the doctors are taught has changed. They are no longer taught ways to heal the body. They're taught ways to prescribe medications to mask the symptoms of the diseases that people have. That's where I think our doctors are being misled themselves. They are being taught wrong. They're not being taught that the body can heal. If you have 3% liver function left, you can heal your liver. It needs 3% and able to heal itself. If you caught something where your liver was shutting down and you had 5% function left on it, if you went to a straight ketogenic diet, and this is what I've read, this is what I've heard, you can heal your liver. And there are people who have done it, who have healed their liver from having 5% function back up to a 25 to 40% function within a couple of years by doing a strict ketogenic diet with no drugs involved, just your diet. You're saying the doctors see it so rarely that they can't comprehend it. Yeah. And when they do see it, like when my doctor saw me losing weight, which at that time it wasn't a lot yet. Well, I'd lost probably 25 or 30 pounds when I saw my doctor. I was still over 300 pounds, but I was coming off of blood pressure medications that she was prescribing me because my blood pressure was going up and up and up. Even on the medicines that she was giving me, it was not helping my blood pressure come down. So we were changing things around. I changed to my diet, and all of a sudden, I'm off of 3 of them within a couple of weeks. The last 2 I took a week and a half to 2 weeks to come off of, and I haven't been on them since. My wife sees the same doctor. She saw my wife's blood sugars go from 500 to 160. Her A1C go from 15 to 8.7 in 4 months. but she still doesn't like this diet. I haven't seen her in 14 months. I've been doing this diet for 16 months. So it's a big difference, you know? Oh. Yeah, with longer fasts, you can heal the liver super fast. And it does. Fasting has so many benefits. And even intermittent fasting has great benefits. If you are somebody that can intermittent fast, it is absolutely amazing the benefits that it has on your body just to keep it eating at specific times with a longer period in between. Your digestion, your body can digest your food better. You get your nutrients in your system better. Your body gets a break for a while. So it's not working overtime. And if you can fast even longer, if you can do a 48-hour fast, or you get certain benefits. From 48 to 72 is where autophagy kicks in, and that's where your body starts eating dead cells within your body, damaged cells, cells that aren't doing their job like they're supposed to. And the autophagy continues on. There are resets after 72 hours, 72 to 96. There's resets in there that help your metabolism and a bunch of other functions within your body. Your digestive system goes dormant for a while, and it allows it to heal and to rest. Your pancreas does the same thing because your insulin is going down. You don't need to produce insulin because you're not having carbohydrates. You're not having glucose spikes. Your body is producing ketones, and your ketones are fueling your body. Your body runs better on the ketones. And when this is all happening, if you've ever been running and you get a runner's high, imagine having that runner's high and that feeling of euphoria just by not eating and working. My mind, when I'm in deep ketosis, works a lot faster than it does any other time. Like right now, I'm not in a deep ketosis. I haven't checked my ketones since yesterday. Yesterday, my ketones were just at a 1, so I wasn't very high. But it made a difference. I can feel the difference being at a 1 compared to what I am now, which I'm probably at about a 0.3. That's where I feel I'm at. I just from the way my mind is feeling. When you get ketones up into the 5s, anything above like 3.5, 4, 5, you really feel the effects of the ketones. It is a tremendous rush that your body has, that your mind has. Your mind is fueled much better with ketones. It's 70% of your brain works on ketones, or can work on ketones exclusively. There's a 30% of your brain that does require glucose, which your liver makes. So if your brain needs glucose, your liver makes it for it. So you have that. And when you're in the deep ketosis, it makes a huge difference. But that's been my rant this morning. I've just kind of gone on and on. I went through some pictures here. I don't know if you saw those or not. I showed some of the foods that I eat on a regular basis. One of the things I absolutely love is the Power Bowl. Bacon, eggs, ground beef, and keeping all the fat that goes with it. That is delicious. Ground beef patties with shrimp, one of my all-time favorites. My breakfast, I like crispy bacon and eggs, and I use the crispy bacon to scoop out the yolks and eat the yolks. And like on this plate here, I've got Pluck seasoning on the eggs. Pluck is an organ meat seasoning. And it's got the heart, liver, pancreas. I can't remember what else is in it, but it's got organ meats in it and some other stuff. And eating like that, and, brisket, um, pork steaks, pulled pork, chicken wings, took me from looking like this big heavy guy with a lot of body fat, and I was huge in these pictures. It took me from looking like that to looking like this, and it's been 16 months that I've looked like that, and then now I look like this. So big difference, right? And that was my rant today. And knowing which labs and advocating for yourself at your doctor, because your doctor is not going to prescribe labs for you for anything other than what they want to sell you a medication for. We had, when we were doing this with my wife to get her fasting insulin and her C-peptide, we had to advocate for it and explain to the doctor why we wanted her fasting insulin and her C-peptide. It wasn't good enough that I'm the patient and I'm paying for it and that's what I want. It wasn't good enough for her doctor. We did have alternate reasons, We had the dentist who was wanting to see that she was taking care of her diabetes before he would pull her teeth. You almost always do my eggs over easy because I just seem to desire those runny yolks. Absolutely, I love the runny yolks. I like them sunny side up, but I can never make them properly sunny side up. The pluck. What the hell is that happening? I have to look it up now. Pluck seasoning. Eatpluck.com. Let's see. Shaker. Does it list the seasonings in it? All right. What does it have in it? Let's see. It's a delicious blend of organic spices and herbs, onions, garlic, smoked paprika, parsley, and grass-fed beef organic organ meats. Ingredients. Grass-fed. All right. Finally. It takes that long to find the actual thing I'm doing there. Ingredients: beef organ meats, liver, kidney, spleen, heart, and pancreas. And then the herbs: onion, paprika, garlic. This is for their zesty garlic one. Paprika, garlic, mustard seed, thyme, red mint salt. They don't have anything that's bad in it, and it's got a different flavor to it. It's actually really nice. I do enjoy their seasoning. But for whatever, oh, there it is. I just have to scroll down a little bit more. So the spicy mild, it's got the same organ meats as the liver, kidney, spleen, heart, pancreas, onion, smoked paprika, lemon peel, garlic, parsley, cayenne pepper, mustard seed, thyme, and red mint salt. And it has it's a unique flavor. It's not off-putting at all. It's actually really, really good. It doesn't have much of a bite at all to it from the cayenne. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not pregnant anymore either. But the pluck seasoning is actually really delicious. I would, if you haven't tried it, I would too. I would try it again. Yeah, the pure one. The pure one's actually not the bad. The original would be what I would go with, or the spicy mild. The spicy mild is actually really good. It is expensive, but it doesn't take much at all to do that, and a 3-ounce container. So it is expensive, but you can order it as a subscription, and you save money on that. It's a $8 discount by doing it as a subscription. I wouldn't be able to. I don't eat it that much to do it, and I only did it because I when I bought it, I got a really good discount on it. It wasn't anywhere near the price that they're showing on here right now. It's like a Black Friday deal or whatever. I got a really good discount on it, so I decided to give it a shot. And I thought I actually ordered the original, but what I got was the spicy mild. I was positive when I ordered the original. But it is what it is. Oh my goodness, we got an hour and 36 minutes, and I'm going to head out, Jester. Holy cow, there's actually more people watching now than earlier today. You got 19 people on here watching, 11 on X. Good morning, X. How are you doing today? And then we had 8 people on YouTube watching. So I appreciate everybody being here and watching this. Hey, give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe to my channel. I'll be here again Saturday, and then I'll be here again Sunday. Let's see. Unfortunately, it doesn't take too much spice for my joints to flare up. Yes, Jester, that is absolutely true. It does not take a whole lot for a person to have adverse reactions to spices. I learned that the hard way with taco seasoning. Ooh, I had a terrible reaction to a taco seasoning. I was just after, it was probably 45 days into my carnivore diet to begin with. We bought a large container of taco seasoning from Costco. And the first time that we had it, the next day, I felt like I got run over by a truck. So I can't eat that taco seasoning from Costco anymore. We bought the big container, but my son, he uses it. He can use that. I think my wife actually gave it to one of my daughters too, but I can't use it. All right. You got to head out. You'll catch me again soon. If you get a chance to stop in at Carnivore Quest, anybody else that's on here on X or on YouTube here, or even on there we go. How's that? If you're interested, check out this channel here. This is Carnivore Quest YouTube. Larry's got a live meeting going on right now, and that's usually where I am at this time on a Sunday morning, is hanging out with Larry and the group of people there. So if you're interested, go ahead and jump on into this here meeting here. We can continue talking in there. Yeah, you give it a shot. Larry's got some good stuff he talks about. He's got one hell of a contagious laugh. He's got a sense of humor. And just being part of his group has helped me out tremendously these last 7 months that I've been watching him and his journey. So we'll see you over there. We'll see you back here next Saturday, 10 a.m., next Sunday, 10 a.m. Until then, eat meat, be happy. That's all it takes. Thanks.